Today we've got a brand new Wazza pedal from Boss, which can help you add some different flavors to your sound. Let's take a look at it. Hi, I'm Pete from Gear for Music, and today we're checking out a brand new Wazza pedal from Boss, the BP-1W. If you like this sort of video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's take a look at the pedal. The new BP-1W is the latest addition to Boss's Wazzacraft pedal lineup. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Wazzacraft, it's basically Boss's kind of premium boutique-y line of pedals. A lot of them are based on classic Boss pedals with sort of extra modes and reimagined versions, but this one's all new. So the BP-1W is a boost/preamp pedal. So what we've got on there is two very simple controls. We've got a level control and a gain control. Now in the natural mode, which is this kind of central mode on the pedal, that'll give you a flat response boost that's great for hitting other pedals with or hitting the front end of your amp a bit harder. But the real secret sauce of this pedal comes in the two additional modes that we've got on there. So we've got the RE mode, which takes the preamp sound from Roland's legendary Space Echo and lets you use that as a booster. And then we've also got the CE mode on the other side, which takes the preamp from Boss's very first pedal, the CE1 Chorus. Now, both of these pedals have been used by players over the last few decades to kind of colour their sound, even if they weren't using the intended effect of the pedal. So it's something that can make a really interesting texture or a really interesting change to whatever sound you've got going on in your rig. So today we're going to try out the BP-1W with a few different setups. So I've got a Vox AC15 here, and I've got a Marshall JCM 800 here, two very different amps. So we've got kind of clean, classic EL84 sound from the Vox, and we've got a very dirty EL34 sound from the Marshall. We're going to see how the pedal interacts with these amps differently. We're also going to try it out with a bunch of different pedals and see where it can add to the sound. So we're going to start out with some sounds from the Vox. So I've got the Vox kind of set to a just sort of edge of breakup, fairly clean kind of sound, just going into the natural channel, which has always been a great kind of pedal platform on these amps. So we're just going to see how the BP-1W enhances, reacts to, changes your sound. So here's the clean sound on the Vox. So like I say, it's kind of pretty clean, just pushing into the edge of overdrive there, but you still got that classic kind of Vox chiminess to it. So what I'm just going to do is start out on the natural mode on the BP-1W. So I've got the level control set just above kind of unity gain. So if we take this all the way down to 0, we won't get any sound out of the pedal. So we've got a unity gain setting about halfway. So I'm just pushing that a bit harder. And then the gain, this basically kind of gives us some more compression, some more saturation to the sound. But because we're on the natural setting, it's not going to colour the tone too much. So let's just see how that sounds. So as you can hear there, it's really just pushing the Vox into that kind of next level of overdrive. It's not really colouring the sound too much. We're not getting too much kind of mid-range pushing through or anything like that. It's kind of the sound that you've already got, but more of it. And I think it sounds great. So next up, we'll try it on the RE mode. So again, this is a kind of recreation of the preamp that was found originally in the Roland Space Echo. So back in those days, the echo effect needed something before it hit the tape to kind of match impedance and things like that. But players have used it over the years in the same way that they've used a bunch of other kind of similar sort of effects units to just give their sound something extra. So let's hear what it sounds like in the RE mode. So for me, what we're getting there is kind of a bit more lower mid push there. So there's definitely some coloration going on in the sound, but I think it sounds really, really nice with the Vox. Again, it's not overly gained or anything like that. It's kind of like a mild overdrive effect, but really it's just because it's hitting the front end of the amp that bit harder and driving the valves harder. But you've got that kind of lower mid push to it, maybe a little bit treble trimmed off the top. So we haven't got quite so much chiminess as you would probably expect. So again, we'll just go quickly from the clean sound and then add the RE sound over the top. So we've got loads of that top end there, that sort of sparkle. Yeah, it's kind of pushing all the frequencies kind of into the middle, and you know, that'll really help your sound jump out on stage or in a mix or anything like that. It's kind of where the guitar wants to be, and it doesn't have too much of that kind of ice pickiness to it. So I guess the next setting we'll try out will be the CE setting. So again, this is taken from the CE1 chorus pedal. This was kind of a bit of a weird effect when it first came out because it was a big sort of, it wasn't the Boss pedal that we all recognize nowadays, but it did have this sort of preamp in there that again, a lot of players have used over the years to just color their overdrive sounds and things like that. So let's give that a try. Keeping all the settings the same on it, just switching over the CE. So immediately what I think you're getting with that is there's more sort of raspiness to that sound, and it's a bit more of a kind of, I don't know, like a harder clipping, like a almost square wave kind of clipping there. If we turn the gain up on that, it can get really quite sort of nasty and fuzzy sounding. Yeah, it's kind of getting into almost kind of Velcro-y fuzz territory on the CE side. So we don't have that kind of same mid-range push that you got on the RE, but there's kind of more going on in that kind of top end and a bit harsher sounding. So really, when you're considering that all those three sounds are coming out of one pedal, it just shows the sort of versatility that you're going to get with this. So moving over to the Marshall now, I've got this set up with more of a kind of high gain sound as you'd expect from something like a JCM 800. So just see how the BP-1W reacts when it's in front of, you know, quite a dirty amp. So I'm anticipating that it's going to kind of thicken out the sound and just give you a bit more, give your playing a bit more to hang on to. It's a bit like what we used to call like a make gooder pedal. Just makes everything that bit nicer to play and everything just kind of knits together a bit more. So let's see where it does. So we'll start out with the clean sound from the Marshall. I say the clean sound. So that's the sound with no effect on at all. And then we'll kick in the natural mode. So kind of as before, it's pretty much the same sort of sound, but more of it. So it's just pushing everything into that next level. So now let's try it on the RE mode. So on the Vox, this hit those kind of lower mids and just kind of made everything a bit more thumpy and kind of pushed all of the frequencies out from the kind of outside. So the low end kind of cut a little bit, the high end kind of cut a little bit, pushed everything in the middle. So let's see where it does on the Marshall. So again, we'll go from the pedal off. mean, it's just thicker, it's just better, it's just nicer. I don't know why you wouldn't just leave that on all the time. A lot of players do that sort of thing, so kind of have like a boost in front of the amp as a bass overdrive sort of sound. And I think if it was me, I would just be leaving that RE setting on in front of a dirty amp all the time, because it just, you feel that in your chest. There's just this thump to the sound and it just thickens everything. Just a really, really great sound. So let's try the CE mode now. So on the Vox, this was that kind of more brittle, harsher, hard clipping kind of sound to it. Let's see what it does in front of the Marshall. So we'll kind of leave everything around about halfway for now and see what it sounds like. Again, it's not doing that mid-range hump thing, but it's kind of just a big monster sound, loads more kind of top end in there. There is some more bass there. Felt a lot more bassy than it did in front of the Vox, but maybe that's just, you know, kind of different amp architecture affecting it as well. So, but yeah, just a really kind of monster sound there. Probably a bit less subtle than the other two modes, but just for the hell of it, let's just turn everything up on there and see what happens on that CE mode. I mean, that's ridiculous, really. Just a big, giant monster sound. But I mean, it still had kind of cut to it. A lot of times when you go into that kind of fuzzy territory, everything just shifts down the bottom end and your guitar kind of drops out of the mix. It feels like in that CE mode, even with everything kind of stupid and totally dimed, you're still going to get some cut through the mix and still going to be heard. So if you want just a monstrous, huge overdrive sound to come out of it, just turn everything up on that, put it in front of a dirty amp, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so we've had a quick look at the BP-1W straight into the front of a couple of amps. Obviously, we've probably only scratched the surface of what the pedal can do. You know, I haven't kind of gone too deep into the sort of tweaking of it, but it's going to be different with everybody's setup, so there's kind of no real point to doing that. But I thought it would be interesting to try it in front of a couple of different pedals as well. So what we've got here is we've got a Boss Super Chorus, the CH1, pretty much an industry standard chorus pedal. So I thought it would be interesting if we got a chorus sound going from that, and then if we use the CE side of the BP-1W to just add that CE1 preamp in front of the CH1 and see what that does to the sound. See if it gets us somewhere near that kind of secret sauce of the original CE1 chorus pedal. So I'm just using the Vox for this because it's a little bit more pedal friendly than the big Marshall. But let's try it out with a couple of different settings. So here's just the CH1, just the chorus pedal on its own. sounds like a chorus pedal, yeah. So if we just stick the BP-1W over in front of it, so I've just come down a little bit on the level on this and a little bit down on the gain. So we're just running effectively the CE1 preamp as I would figure most people would have run it back in the day. See what it does to the sound. So again, standard chorus sound. There's definitely something nice going on there. It kind of sweetens the chorus and gives us, it kind of makes it more chorusy, if that makes any sort of sense. So I don't know whether there's something going on with the kind of filtering that the CE preamp kind of offers to the sound, that it kind of optimizes the guitar sound before it hits the chorus, before it hits that modulation, and just makes everything sound a little bit deeper and richer. And obviously you can kind of dig in a bit more because there's some saturation, some compression there from the BP-1W. Just kind of a more satisfying chorus sound. But also we can increase the gain on the BP-1W and see what effect that has into the chorus as well. So there's a kind of nastiness there, a little bit more kind of harshness that really works quite well to make that chorus sound really stand out. So I guess if you're kind of playing with other players in a mix or anything like that, and you want that modulation to kind of jump a bit more, stick that preamp in front of it and it makes a world of difference. So we've done chorus, so now let's try a similar sort of thing with delay. So obviously we've got the RE side of the BP-1W here, again taken from the legendary Roland Space Echo. And I've just got, again, a bog standard Boss DD3T, which is digital delay. Not something that you're going to get that kind of analog-y sort of warm sound, but just a really, really great sounding digital delay. Let's see what effect putting the Space Echo preamp in front of that has. So I've just got this set to a kind of almost a slapback sort of sound to begin with. We'll see what it sounds like. Sounds pretty good. I mean, nothing wrong with that at all. But let's see what a difference it makes when we put the BP-1W in front of that sound. It's just kind of more fun to play. I don't know, especially for that sort of slapback sound. Obviously, with the digital delay on there, it sounds great. It's very clear sounding, very hi-fi sounding. Putting the Space Echo preamp before it just kind of blurs the edges of everything a little bit, makes everything a little bit dirty, more analog sounding, let's be honest. So, I mean, if you're going for that kind of more vintage delay sound, and if you're using a digital delay on your board, stick that in front of it and you've kind of got an analogized version of it, if that makes any sort of sense. So we'll go for kind of a longer delay sound now, a little bit more spacious, and again, just see what effect having that preamp in front of it makes to the sound. So just the dry delay sound there. Stick the preamp in front of it. I'm not the greatest sort of delay pedal player, but it just, again, it kind of fuzzes everything together a bit more. Everything kind of melds and kind of great for sort of like soundscapey kind of shoegazy kind of things. So again, if you've got a digital delay, that's your delay that you've got, and you want that kind of more analog warmth to it, again, stick the preamp in front of it. And it's just, again, it's more fun to play. It makes the delays jump out that little bit more. There's something about, again, the sort of filtering. This was a preamp that was designed for delay, so it just helps everything along that little bit more. Really musical sounding effect. So I just thought it would be worth trying as well, see how the BP-1W stacks with other drive pedals, other gain pedals, and fuzz pedals. What I've got set up here is I've got the Boss FZ-1W, the Wazacraft fuzz pedal, and then that's running in to the BP-1W. So quite often, if you're playing fuzz stuff, it's very easy for your sound to kind of disappear. So I just thought it would be interesting to see what the BP-1W can kind of give back to a fuzz sound. So just for now, I've got it just set on the natural setting. But then I might flip over and see what that kind of nastier CE setting sounds like as well. Switch to the CE side. Yeah, there's something about that CE side that just kind of works really well with that kind of big, dirty fuzz sound. There must be something harmonically that's happening, those extra kind of upper mids and high harmonics that are just present in the sound just helps everything cut through a bit more, and you don't get that kind of everything turning into mush sound that you sometimes get with a fuzz pedal. So if you need something with a bit more cut to get your fuzz heard, again, really good, really great pedal for that. So finally, I'm just going to try out a bit more of a sort of standard stacking scenario. So a lot of players will try and sort of stack different drive pedals and boost pedals together. Gives you some sort of different tonal options, bit of variety in your drive levels, different gain stages and things like that. So I've just got a standard Boss Blues driver there, just set to a kind of rhythm overdrive sound. And then I'm going to hit that with the BP-1W set to the RE side. So that kind of nice thickening, low mid boost thing that does, and we'll just see how it sounds. So I'll start out with just the clean sound from the Vox, then I'll add the blues driver, then I'll add the BP-1W. So yeah, really great sound there. It's just more of everything. It's kind of like just the basic sound, but then just massively on steroids. So yeah, if you're looking for something to stack with other drive pedals, give yourself a bit more flexibility in your drive sounds, again, what a great pedal for that sort of thing. It's worth mentioning as well that the BP-1W, on the back, there's a little switch, and that gives you access to two different buffers that Boss have built into this. Obviously, as this is a Wazacraft pedal, there's always something a bit special in there as well. So the two buffers, you've got a modern buffer and a vintage style buffer. So the modern buffer's very much kind of a full range sound. These are very, very subtle differences. So I haven't kind of highlighted them in the video, but if you're trying this pedal with different fuzz pedals, different drive pedals, things like that, can just help to kind of tailor the input to different pedals. So the vintage setting is more of a kind of, it's a little bit sweeter sounding. There's a little less bottom end to it, a little bit more high end sparkle there. And then on the modern setting, it's very much kind of what you'd expect from a full range buffer. So worth trying things out with that as well. So this has been a very quick kind of first play through the Boss BP-1W booster preamp pedal. Incidentally, I think it's Boss's first proper boost pedal that they've ever done. And it's kind of been worth waiting for them to do it as a Wazacraft pedal. I think the extra features that they've jammed in there have really made this kind of a bit of a sort of Swiss Army knife for your pedal board. You know, it's very much a multifunctional pedal. There's loads of things that you can use this for to just add that kind of secret sauce to your sound. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.